So what's going on to everybody? I just did episode 3 of my mini series. That's on Triller. So episode 2 just dropped. I just did episode 3, but I'm gonna keep it going on YouTube. This will still be episode 3, but a lot longer because the mini episodes they're like 10 minutes long. So thought I might as well just go ahead and keep it going on YouTube, right? Just a little bit longer. Picked off where I left off at. So hold on, before I get into that, I want to say my whole life is in a parallel universe, and you know, if you don't know what a parallel universe is, then you might as well just Google it. Because Google will tell you what a parallel universe is. That's pretty much how I'm going to go about this whole thing. Now, I remember, like I said, how I'm gonna start this episode off. Now, I might do the morning, I might not. It all depends on how things go. But I do remember I was with Sinitra, my cousin, and Beyonce. Like I said, I just got finished taking them shopping. So we in the mansion, and Beyonce is kind of like laying in the bed with me, and she's like, David. I mean, I get it. I believe you that that is your real cousin. I just, you never really talked about her like that. So it kind of like threw me that you like came to her defense and stuff. Like I never seen this girl, or I never heard you even talk about this girl. Like I mean, I don't even know. Do you got sisters? Do you got brothers? I'm like, I got sisters and brothers, but I don't talk about them like that. She's like, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't never really see you talk to them about like you don't talk to your family or your brothers and sisters. So it kind of threw me, when this whole situation occurred. I'm like, yeah, I get it. So, she's like, but anyway, that ain't gonna stop us from, having sex, cause you know I love having sex. I'm like, you love having sex. She's like, David, you don't like having sex with your wife. I'm like, well, of course you're my wife. Why would I not want to have sex with my wife? And plus, you're Beyonce. So you're not mad about that whole interview thing, are you? I'm like, no, no. But I wish you would have told me before. She's like, okay, okay, all right, you right. True say. She's like, true say. I mean, you right. All right, I should have told you. You right. But I ain't think he would mind though. I mean, it's Oprah who doesn't want to really get interviewed by Oprah. I'm like, you got interviewed by Oprah before, right? It's like, I might have got interviewed by Oprah when I was like in the group. Like I think I was in the group, maybe Destiny Child. I don't know. I don't know. It's been a little while. I can't really remember. So I'm like, okay. So we having sex. Like, oh David. I'm like, yeah, throw that ass back. It's like, David. I'm like, oh shit. It's like, David. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. So I'm beating it up, whatever, like that. I'm having sex with my wife, Beyonce. That's my baby. So it's like, oh my goodness. David, we gotta do something about the whole bank account thing. I'm like, what you mean? My money good. So like, no, I'm not talking about your money. I'm talking about my money. I'm like, what you mean? It's like, so now that me and Jay are getting a divorce and we're married, well, okay. The thing is that our money is mixed up together. I'm like, what do you mean your money is mixed up together with Jay Z's? I don't understand that. What do you mean? It's like, David, how hard is that to understand that it's fucking mixed up? That means that we share a bank account. That's what it means by mixed up together. I'm like, why would you mix your damn money up together? Why would you do that? She's like, David, because we were married and I had no intentions on leaving him. So that's why. So I'm like, okay. So how are you going to get it unmixed with Jay? So she's like, you know what, David? That is a very good question. I'm like, yeah. So how are you going to get it unmixed? She's like, well, I was thinking maybe my husband can help me out. I'm like, okay. So how do you want me to help you out? Like, what do you want me to do? So she's like, okay, you know people, right? Like, you know people like in banking and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, Beyonce. Of course I do. She's like, okay, so David, we're gonna have to work on this right now because I tried to use one of my credit cards a few hours ago when we was in the mall, right? And guess what it said? I'm like, what it say? She was like, it said fucking declined. I'm like, well, it sounds like he took your money. She's like, how the fuck is he gonna take my money? It's my matter of fact, okay, let me call his ass up real quick. So she calls up Jay. Jay got his number changed. So she's like, okay, now he playing this game. He changed his number. Okay. All right. So, okay, you might be on to something, David. He might have stole my damn money. He can't. Wait, hold on. Let me call my fucking accountants up. Hold on. So she calls her accountants up. She's like, okay, y'all know that me and Jay ain't together no more. Me and David are married. So they're like, yeah, we know all about that. Congratulations, Beyonce, with your new husband. Ain't you pregnant with his babies, David? That A-list actor? It's like, yes, I am. But that's besides the point. Me and Jay, we shared a bank account together, and I went to use one of my credit cards a few hours ago, and it said declined. So they're like, whoa, okay, well, he's the one that had access to the bank account, right? It's like, well, we both did. So she's like, okay, it seems to me that he moved the money and changed it. She's like, but he can't do that shit. It's my money. Like, I work for that money. That's my money. He can't just take my money. So she was like, okay, but he is technically still your husband. Y'all not fully divorced yet. So she's like, that is completely bullshit. What do you mean that just because we're not fully divorced, that he can do something like that? She's like, well, he technically can. I mean, he is your husband. And both of y'all do got access to the bank account. Like, y'all both have the information to get to the money. So technically, he kind of has the right to do it. So she's like, but it's my money though. He can't steal my money. He's a damn thief. Well, what are you talking about? So she's like, look, I mean, I'm going to help you in every way, but he didn't really necessarily do anything illegal. So she's like, he took my money. He stole my money. What are you talking about? He didn't do nothing illegal. That's all the way illegal. So she's like, yeah, in certain ways it could be if y'all was divorced. If y'all was divorced and not together, then it would be considered like a felony. But y'all not divorced, y'all still together. So she's like, but we ain't together. We getting a divorce, but it ain't final yet. See, that's what you gotta understand, Beyonce. It's not final. So he has every right to move that money if you want to. Y'all still married. She's like, but that is something that a crook would do. He stole my damn money and then he changed his number. So she's like, okay, well, B, what do you technically want me to do? I mean, like, I can't really do anything about it. I can't call him. You just told me that he changed his number. So I don't know how you want me to do this. She's like, so it's nothing you can do. She's like, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. It's nothing I can do at this point. It's nothing I can do right now. It's not that I won't do anything. It's just it's nothing I can do right now. So she's like, so what are you saying? She's like, what I'm saying to you is that he ain't do nothing wrong. I mean, in your eyes, it might be that way because y'all not together. But the thing is that y'all are still married. So he has every right to move that money. So she's like, this is bullshit. So what, I can't get my money back? He stole my money. So she's like, how much money are we talking? She's like, over $500 million. She's like, wait, what? Did you say over 500 million? She's like, yes. So she's like, well, okay. She's like, and I'm worth, I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I got way more money than that. I mean, I got a separate bank account that he know nothing about, and I know he can't touch that. So she's like, how much money is in that? She was like, a whole lot more than 500 million. So she's like, okay, well then you good. Then she's like, no, the fuck I'm not. Because I want my money that he stole. So she's like, okay, all right, well, all right. I don't know how you want me to deal with that. She was like, don't I pay you to take care of stuff like that? She's like, yeah. She's like, okay. Well, consider it like this. Consider it like this. The money that I pay you is in that money that he stole. So either you get the money back or you won't get no damn paycheck. How about that? So she's like, fine, I'll get on top of it. She's like, I know you would. So she's like, how the hell he gonna steal my damn money and then change his damn number? So she's like, I can't even call my damn daughter Blue because she's not gonna answer the damn phone. So I'm like, okay. She's like, this is such bullshit, David. He stole my money. I'm like, I mean, you know you should have been on top of that. She's like, David, you don't think I know that? You don't think that I David, first of all, let me just say this. First of all, let me just say this. I didn't think he was gonna I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't think he was gonna steal my damn money. I didn't think he had it in him because he got his own damn money, but his money is mixed in with mine. I'm like, so that's how much it is all together? She was like, no, it's a lot more. It's a lot more. I just told her 500 million. I just made that number up. It's a lot more money than 500 million. That's why I'm going crazy. It's like $1 billion. I'm like, so you trying to tell me that Jay-Z stole $1 billion from you? So she's like, yes, he did. So I started laughing. So she was like, David, that shit ain't funny. I'm like, it is kind of funny if you think about it. She was like, David, why in the hell are you laughing at it? Nothing about that is funny. I'm like, I'm just saying, like, why would you even think about not worrying about something like that? You should have thought this through. She's like, David, didn't I just tell you I didn't think he had it in him to do it? I'm like, it seemed like he had a lot up in him because he definitely did it. So she's like, David, that's not funny though. I don't know why you think that shit is funny. So I'm like, I just can't believe that he actually did it and then changed his damn number on you. Like you can't, you just not gonna find his ass now. So she's like, David, I don't care what girl he end up with. I ain't with it. I'm not with him. I'm with you. That's not the point. He stole my damn money. So I'm like, okay, so what you gonna do? Serve his ass, take him to court? So she's like, if I have to, David, David, can you call Usher for me? I'm like, all right, I want some more pussy real quick. She's like, fine, David. So we having sex. I'm like, oh shit, that pussy so good. It's like, David, oh my god. I'm like, oh, that pussy good. It's like, I'm like, throw that ass back. I'm like, throw it back. God damn, throw that ass back. It's so good. It's like, David, oh. I'm like, yeah, you like that dick in you, girl? That big ass dick in you. She's like, oh shit. So I beat it up or whatever. And yeah, it was really good. And I remember after me and Beyonce had sex, she's like, David, that was really good. I really needed that. I'm like, you did? It's like, yeah, but can you call Usher up? I'm like, why? What you want me to call Usher up for, baby? She's like, because he knows Jay-Z, and I'm pretty sure he knows his new number. So I'm like, okay, so what do you want me to do? She's like, I want you to call Usher, and I want Usher to call his ass up on three-way and then hand me the damn phone. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I called up Usher, all right? I'm like, Usher. He was like, what's up, man? He was like, what's up, man? I'm like, he's like, this David? I'm like, yeah. He was like, all right, what's up? I'm like, look, I need you to do me a favor. You got Jay-Z new number? He was like, new number? I'm like, yeah, don't act like you don't got it either. He's like, yeah, I got it. So I'm like, look, call him up on three-way for me. So he's like, you want to talk to him? I mean, I think that's a bad idea, but all right. So he called them up on three-way. And he answered the phone. He like, hello? So he was like, what's up, Usher? What you want to link up? He was like, no, somebody want to talk to you. So he's like, who want to talk to me? So I gave the phone to, Beyonce. She was like, hello, I want to talk to you. So he was like, oh, man, Usher, you set me up. What you want? So she was like, why you steal my money? So he was like, I ain't steal your money. That was my money. So she was like, that was not your money. It was both of our money, and most of that money was mine. Why did you steal my money? So he was like, this is my money. I moved it, and you ain't never gonna get to it. She was like, you better give me my money. So he was like, I don't better give you anything. So she was like, I worked very hard for that money. I want my money. So he was like, you ain't getting that money, girl. I don't care what you say on this phone. You ain't getting that money. You ain't never gonna touch that money. So she was like, so you just gonna steal from me? You just gonna steal from me? So he's like, steal from you? That's my money in there too. So she's like, yeah, but mine, that money is a lot more money. She was like, that money is a lot more mine than yours. So he's like, well, it doesn't matter because we still married and I can do whatever I want with that damn money, and I did. So she was like, you a fucking thief. That's all it is to it. You a damn thief. So he was like, I don't care what the hell I am. I got the money and you ain't got nothing. So she was like, you stupid, because I have a separate bank account that you know nothing about, and you would never ever get to that money. So he was like, "Oh, I don't care. I don't want that little bit of money." So she was like, "Oh, it ain't no little bit of money." So I knew you was probably gonna do something like this if we was to ever really break up. So I had to think on my feet. So okay, so you stole my damn money and you ain't gonna give it back. So he was like, the only way you gonna get it back is if you take me to court. But if you take me to court, let me tell you something. Beyonce, you ain't gonna win. You know why? Because I'm technically still your damn husband. And I have every right to move that damn money just as much as you do. So she was like, all right, you know what? Keep the fucking money. Keep it. Don't fucking call me for anything. He was like, I didn't call you. You called me. She's like, I didn't technically call you. You know what? It doesn't even matter. Whatever. Okay. So you won. You won. Go ahead. Keep the money. All right. Whatever. So she hang up the phone. She's like, I cannot believe he took my money, baby. I'm like, I get it, but there's nothing you can do about it now. I mean, he got it. She's like, this motherfucker stole $1 billion from me. I'm like, she's like, and I know he doing this to be petty. I know he doing this to be petty. I mean, why wouldn't he do this to be petty? Instead of just calling me up and say, you get your half of the money and I get mine and we just go our separate ways. Why couldn't he be mature and do something like that? So I'm like, because a lot of people are not mature and people are petty as hell. And that's just the truth about it. Everybody is super damn petty about every damn thing. That's the truth. So you really thought that he was going to call you up and say, hey, Beyonce, yeah, you cheated on me and had an affair on me and got pregnant behind my back by somebody else, another celebrity. But, you know, it would really be nice of you if you take your half of the money and I take mine and we go our separate ways. Do you really think he was going to do that? So she was like, you know what? Now that you said it, it does make a lot of sense that he probably wouldn't have did it. So I'm like, yeah. So just don't worry about it. There's nothing you can do about it. He got the money. She's like, but he stole $1 billion from me. That's a lot of money, David. And I worked my ass off for that money. So I'm like, she's like, you just want me to walk away from that money? David. So I'm like, okay, what the hell do you want me to do, Beyonce? Go and beat the hell out the nigga? Like, what do you want me to do? She's like, David, you got connections. You got soldiers and armies and all types of stuff. You can get me that money back. So I'm like, see, I don't want to use violence. She's like, David, I'm your wife. He stole from your wife. I'm like, fine, I'll get the money back. So she's like, thank you. All right, now that that's out the way, we're going to wait till the interview tomorrow. David, and you better get the money back too. I'm like, I'm going to get the money back. She's like, David, can you just make the phone calls now? And so I can be more like, you know, okay about the whole thing. I'm like, all right, girl, you starting to bug the hell out of me about this damn money. She's like, David, not everybody's a damn trillionaire like you. So I'm like, all right. So I call up my soldiers. I'm like, hello? They're like, hey, boss, what's going on? What you want us to get into today? I'm like, I need y'all to do me a favor. Look, Beyonce and Jay-Z are really going through it. They beefing. So they was like, so she like, okay, so what do you want us to do? I'm like, look, Jay-Z stole $1 billion from Beyonce and she can't get the money back. So we're going to need y'all to kind of force his ass to like, you know, put the money back. So they like, all right, so you basically want us to beat him up? I'm like, not just whip his damn ass, take him and put him, like, I want y'all to kidnap his ass and take him to the warehouse and call me when he at the damn warehouse, okay? So he's like, you want us to kidnap Jay-Z? I'm like, didn't I just say that? So they like, all right, and do you want us to beat him up? So I'm like, well, how you gonna kidnap him if you don't whip his ass? Yeah, beat him up, but don't kill him. So they like, all right, fine, we'll do that. So I'm like, all right, and take him to the warehouse and call me when he's there. I will go there and I'll take care of it. So they like, all right, fine, we'll take care of it right now. We get on top of it. So get off the phone with them. I'm like, now are you happy now? Now he gonna get his ass whooped real damn bad because of you. She was like, what did you mean because of me? I'm like, you the one that called me. I'm like, you the one that told me to do it. She's like, yes. And you should have wanted to do it in the first damn place. I'm your wife. I shouldn't have to tell you to do it. So I'm like, look, I didn't think you wanted me to whip his ass, but okay. So she's like, David, that's what he get. He want to play with me. He want to play hardball. So I'm going to play hardball back. So I'm like, okay. She's like, he want to steal my damn money and then gonna tell me good riddance. Okay, well now he gonna see what it feels like to be crossed over. So I'm like, okay. I'm telling you, they gonna really beat on him like real bad. So when you see him, she's like, wait, what you mean when I see him? I'm like, I'm taking you with me. She's like, you taking me with you? I'm like, yeah, this is your damn problem. So she's like, all right, okay. I'm like, I'm just letting you know when you see his face, don't be looking at me like why they do that to him. You the one that told me to do it. So she's like, I ain't gonna say nothing to you. I'm gonna get my damn money. So I'm like, all right. So I remember me and Beyonce, we kissing, we having sex, and I'm like, throw that ass back. She's like, David, I'm like, throw it back. She's like, okay, I'm throwing it back. I throw it back. I throw it, oh shit. I'm like, oh yeah, that shit real good. She's like, David, oh, David, oh my god, damn, shit, it's so big. I'm like, oh shit, your ass so damn soft. Oh shit, oh shit. So I ended up beating it up, and like I said, it was really good. So I remember after I was done with my baby Beyonce, my wife, she kind of fell asleep. She's pretty tired anyway. I'll go in there with my cousin Sinitra. I'm like, Sinitra, what's going on? Mr. Thug or Mrs. Thug. It's like, David, I am not a thug. You see my damn face? I'm like, damn. I'm like, he did that to you? She's like, yeah. I mean, he beat me up like real bad. I'm like, you want to go with me somewhere? She was like, you sure your wife Beyonce gonna be okay with this? I'm like, yeah. I mean, she should be fine with it. She's like, okay, cool. So I remember we in the car, whatever, and she just started crying. Like, I don't know why. I'm like, Sinitra, look, man, you gotta stop all that crying. Like, you ain't going back there no more. You good? So she's like, I know, but it's just like my eyes all fat and swollen. I'm like, I bought you a whole bunch of sunglasses. Why you ain't put them on? It's like, it hurt my eye. I'm like, cause it's so fat. She's like, yeah, when I put them on, it hurt my eye. Like, it's not like it's a black eye where you can just put on sunglasses and pretty much cover it up. But it's fat, like it's swollen. So when I put the sunglasses on, it hurts. So I'm like, okay, I kind of understand what you're saying. It's like, yeah, it's not that I ain't want to wear them. It's just that they hurt my eye. So I'm like, okay, all right. It's like, I'm sorry if I keep crying. It's just, that ain't the first time he did something like that. So I'm like, where you meet this dumb nigga at? She's like, I met him at a party. And I mean, he wasn't always like that. He was really nice. When I first met him, I'm like, they all like that. They always like that. It's like, wait, is your truck, is it driving by itself? I'm like, yeah. She's like, what, does it know where it's going at and shit? I'm like, yeah, it know where it's going at. She's like, this shit reminds me of like the Knight Rider. You ever seen that TV show, The Knight Rider? I'm like, Sinitra, you know I seen that damn show. So she's like, oh yeah, that's what this truck remind me of. I'm like, it talks too. She's like, it talks? I'm like, well, right now I got Beyonce voice now. She's like, it do because she's your wife. I'm like, it's like, David, I swear, I cannot believe that you were married to this fucking girl. I'm like, you can't believe. She's like, I cannot believe it, David. Like, this is, like, that's Beyonce. David, we used to look at Beyonce. You know how obsessed Aunt Angie used to be with Beyonce and my mother and Destiny Child? And you dating her and she's your wife? And not only that, the girl is having your babies. Like, that is the weirdest shit I ever seen in my damn life. I'm like, okay. I mean, I can't pull a Beyonce. I thought I could pull a Beyonce. She's like, you could pull a Beyonce. You're very handsome. I'm like, okay. She's like, you can pull a Beyonce. You're very handsome and very talented. So I'm like, thank you. I very appreciate that. It's like, you talk to the rest of the family? I'm like, no, you know that's a dumbass question, Sinitra. I do not talk to the family. He's like, what about your mother? I'm like, I talk to her, here and there, I send her a whole bunch of money every first of the month. She's like, you send her money? I'm like, yeah, I send my mother money every first of the month. Like, I just, as a favor, for, even though my mother, she was there, but she wasn't there. Like, she had my back on certain things and the things that she was lacking in, as far as like really being my damn mother and really, really being there as a mother, like checking up on me, asking me, am I okay? Like having a heart-to-heart conversation like a fucking mother's supposed to do. She was lacking in all that stuff, but any other stuff, she had my back on that. So yeah, every first of the month, I send her like a check of $1 million. It's like, you send your mother a check of $1 million every first of the month. I'm like, yeah, it's like, what the hell is your old ass mother gonna do with $1 million? I'm like, I don't know, whatever the hell she wanna do. She can get the money to the damn family. I don't care what the hell she do with it. It's her money. So she's like, wait, let me get this straight. You send your mother $1 million every first of the month. I'm like, yes. So she's like, wow, that's crazy. That could not be me. I love my mother, but I'll be damned if I send her $1 million every first of the month. So I'm like, well, not everybody's me. So she's like, wow, that's crazy. What about like the rest of your family? You send them money too? I'm like, Sinitra, that's obviously a dumbass question. I don't send them a damn thing. So she's like, oh, I'm like, I just send my mother money. That's it. That's the only person that get money from me is my mother. That's it. That's it. Even though me and my mother wasn't on the best of terms and everything like that, she's still my damn mother. I don't hate her. She might hate me in some ways. She might hate things about me and stuff, but I don't hate my damn mother. So I'll send her money, you know what I'm saying, to let her know it's no hard feelings. I don't sit there and hold grudges against any damn body. I don't do that because God don't hold no damn grudges. So I don't hold grudges against people and sit there and be angry about nothing. I ain't got time for that. It's too much shit going on in the world to be sitting there being mad at somebody, especially your mother. Like, why would I be mad at my mother? She birthed me. She brought me into this world. You know what I'm saying? She's like, well, what do you mean by your mother might not like you? I'm like, I mean, it's probably things that she don't like that I do. I don't know. I can't speak for her. I don't know. So she's like, oh, anyway. So like, David, where in the hell are we going at? So I'm like, oh, well, I was going to take you out to eat. You know, you seemed like you was hungry, and I was going to take you to the movie theater. She's like, okay, sure. Be like a little date. Okay. I'm like, yeah. She's like, so you really like Beyonce, huh? I'm like, yeah. She's like, wow. So you like having sex? Well, y'all have sex a lot. I heard y'all having sex. Like, I walked past the door, and I was like, wow, like that's like their fourth time having sex. I'm like, it's like, so y'all have a lot of sex, obviously. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. She's like, but I've read in an article you was dating her daughter. So is there any truth to that? So I'm like, I was dating her daughter at first, and then she's like, wait, so you and Beyonce had an affair? I'm like, yeah. It's like, what the fuck? Wow. That's crazy. But how did the affair, like, how did it happen? Like, was it a mistake? I'm like, well, it was, but then we ended up liking it, and we just kept having sex with each other. She's like, and how long was y'all doing this shit? Like, the affair, how long was it? Before, like, you know, her husband found out and blew. I'm like, they didn't suspect any damn thing. It was like 2 weeks, and then she got pregnant, and then we got married and stuff. It's like, wait. So you knocked her up like in 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, it's like, so she was like 2 weeks pregnant. I'm like, she almost 3 weeks pregnant now. So she's like, damn, that's almost a damn month. I'm like, yeah. So like, what the hell? Beyonce Simms, that's crazy. She definitely your damn wife. She was all over you and stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's like, I can't believe you knocked her ass up. That's incredible. How many babies in her? Like 1, 2, I'm like 5. It's like, wait, excuse me, did you just say 5 babies? I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's quids. I'm like, I know what 5 babies is. So she's like, oh, okay. So we go to get something to eat. She's like, why the hell is this restaurant? It says David Simms restaurant. I'm like, yeah, this is my restaurant. It's one of my restaurants, actually. She's like, how many damn restaurants do you own? I'm like, I own, like, I don't know, I own a lot of restaurants in different states, though. They not all in the same state. She's like, oh, okay. So we go in there, and my fan's like, wait, who is this girl he with? I don't know who the hell she is. This is a regular girl. Who is this girl? Her eye is fat as shit. Damn, somebody think David whipped her ass. So it's like, David ain't beat that damn girl. You know David would not beat that girl. Like, come on, when have you ever seen David put his hands on a female? Like, Somebody must have whipped her damn ass, and David must have saved her or something. He taking that little homeless girl to get something to eat. So my fans don't know that this is my cousin. Well, she's like my cousin because being as though that I'm not really like a regular person, my family is not really my family no more because I got different blood running through me. You know, like I have God DNA running through me, so my whole demeanor is a lot different than how it used to be. I don't know if that made sense for y'all, but yeah, pretty much. So my fans, they come over, they're like, hey, David, looking as cute as ever. I'm like, hey, what's going on with y'all? They was like, we love you. Your new project, your new mixtape is incredible. You know that, right? I'm like, yeah. They like, we cannot believe you dating Beyonce. Your wife, where your wife at anyway? I'm like, she sleep, she home. So it's like, who's this girl right here? This girl, we don't know what she do for a living. What you do for a living? What's your name? It's like, my name is Sinitra. She was like, okay, hi Sinitra. So she's like, who is this girl? Like, who is she? She work for you or something? So I'm like, she's my cousin. She's my blood cousin. So they was like, yeah, but you're not normal no more. So that technically makes her not your cousin for real. I'm like, well, I think she knows that. So they was like, oh, okay, she know that you like not a regular person. I'm like, yeah, she know that stuff. So she's like, oh, okay, all right. So she was your cousin, but not anymore. I'm like, yeah, basically, yeah. So y'all pretty much understand that. So they're like, so what happened to her eye? So she was like, I got into a fight with my boyfriend. So they're like, damn, your boyfriend did that to you? She's like, ex-boyfriend. We're not together no more. I broke up with him. So they was like, goodness gracious. I mean, he really fattened your eye, girl. Look at how fat that girl eye is. Can I take a picture? So she's like, okay. So they took a picture of her eye or whatever, like her face or whatever. Now, look, Sinitra, she could have said no. She didn't have to let them take no damn photo of her. So I'm like, Sinitra, you know you could have said no, right? You really didn't have you really didn't have to let my fans do that. She's like, no, I don't want to be mean to your fans. It's because of your fans you're so big. I want to be nice to them. So I'm like, okay, I mean, if that's fine. So we go to the movie theater. They taking pictures of me and Sinitra and stuff like that. Now, everybody doesn't know that Sinitra's like my cousin because I don't talk about family like that. Like, I don't really talk about my family like a lot. Like, nobody sees me really like bragging on my family. It doesn't come across when I talk. So people like doesn't really know any of my damn family. Now, of course, when you are really, really famous and big, of course you're gonna have certain family members that is going to get online and say that they're related to you just so they can get some damn buzz or just so they can get people to follow them or, you know, view their stuff. You know, you are going to have those type of family members, and that is just the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? So I just remember we go to the movie theater. She's like, David, they's taking a lot of photos of us. You sure your wife, Beyonce, going to be okay with this? I'm like, yeah, she gonna be fine. She looked like she was hate. She looked like she hate me. I'm like, what you mean? It's like when I got in that truck, she looked like she ain't want me to get in the damn truck. I'm like, she even sounded like she ain't want me to stay with y'all. I'm like, that's because she don't really know you. She think you some random girl. So she's like, oh, okay. I'm like, look, don't worry about it. She cool. She's like, you sure she cool? I'm like, yeah, Beyonce is cool. Don't worry about it. She'll get used to you after a while. So she's like, all right. I mean, I'm like, look, Beyonce is really nice and sweet, but right now, she's going through a divorce with Jay-Z. He just stole $1 billion from her. So she like, did you just say that he stole $1 billion from her? I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's a lot of damn money to steal from some damn body. I'm like, yeah, but their money was mixed in together, you know, because they was married. She was like, but no, hell no. I don't care how big and famous and how much I'm in love with you. And there's no way that I'm mixing my damn money up with your damn money. Because what if we get a damn divorce? I'm like, yeah, true. She's like, she was so damn stupid. Like, that is dumb. That's her stupid fault. So I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to get the money back. So she's like, you gonna get the money back for her? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get it back for her. So she's like, Wow. So he stole the money. I'm like, yeah, he moved the money. He ain't steal it. He moved the money. It's like, but if the money not his, he stole it, David. That ain't his money, right? So I'm like, some of that damn money his. So it's like, so why didn't he just take his damn cut then? Why didn't he just take his damn cut and leave hers? He took all of it, so he stole it. That's a damn thief. So I'm like, okay, true. In some way, I mean, I can see what you're saying. But in a lot of ways, I mean, he had a little bit of right. She's like, no, he did not. David, he didn't have no damn right to steal that woman's money. That was her damn money. So if he wanted to move the money, he could have moved his half of the money and left her the rest because the rest was hers. See, that's really low. That's cruddy. Like he think because he's still technically married to her that it gives him the right to steal all of the damn money. That's not even no. That's not no. Because if you ain't with her, then you take your cut and then you keep it moving. You can put your money somewhere else. You don't have to steal all of the damn money and then gonna say, well, I'm still married to you. That don't mean nothing. So I'm like, she's like, that boy is a damn thief. So I'm like, well, I mean, maybe he is a damn thief. I don't care. I mean, I'm gonna get the damn money back. It's not gonna be no sweat off my damn back. So I remember me and Sinitra, we going through the movie theater, we getting out, everybody like, yo, who is David Wett? Like, who is this girl? Like, we don't know who this random girl is. So everybody's trying to figure out who is this girl. Like they don't know that she's my cousin Sinitra. Like nobody never seen me with any of my family members. Like they never did, so they don't know. So I remember we get into the movie theater. Before we get in there, I'm like, so Sinitra, what do you want? She's like, you mean like food? We just came from the restaurant. We just ate. I'm like, yeah. So what do you want to eat though? So she's like, oh, you mean like for snacks? I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh, okay. Um, Give me some of those gummy bears right there, and I want some of those chocolates, those chocolate duds. I'm like, you want some of those? She's like, yeah, the milk dud things. I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, and that's all you want? She's like, I do want some butter popcorn. I love popcorn. I'm like, you do? She's like, yes. So I'm like, yeah, you want some? You want a big drink? She's like, I do. Thank you so much. I'm like, you want that teddy bear that's hanging? She's like, I do want that teddy bear. I'm like, okay. She's like, you making me feel so special. I'm like, yeah. Well, you having a good time? She's like, yes. I'm like, yeah, that's good. They was like, who is this? My fans are like literally looking at this. They like, who is this girl? Like they like, who is this girl? And like, yo, what is going on? Like, what the hell? We never seen this girl before. We know she's not famous. We don't know who she is because we can't really Google this girl. We don't know her name. Like, who is she? You know what I'm saying? So I remember we go into the movie theater. We got all the stuff that we needed to get. She's like, but you ain't get anything. I'm like, I got some stuff. She's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. She's like, okay, all right. So I remember we going to the movie theater. The movie haven't really started or anything like that. And I remember we sit all the way in the back. I like to sit in the back because like even though like I ain't on a like official date, I just love sitting in the back because when I'm with my girls, I do a lot of nasty things in the back. So Sinitra, she set all her stuff down. She's like, damn, all these people. Damn, I don't got nowhere to sit. I set all the stuff on this other chair. I'm like, you can sit on my lap. She's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay. So the lights was dimming down. The lights was dimming down. She's like, this is crazy. Remember when we was little and I used to act like you was my boyfriend? I'm like, yeah, I remember that. That was a long time ago now. She's like, you still don't look at me like that? I mean, I know I'm your cousin and stuff, but so we started. Well, she leaned in for a kiss, like a little quick little kiss on the cheek, and then I started kissing her, and then we just went at it or whatever. It's like, wait, whoa, are you sure we should do this? I'm like technically still your cousin. I'm like, yeah, but you're not really my cousin anymore. She's like, yeah, true, but what if the family finds out? I'm like, look, they ain't gonna find out. I don't talk to them. They don't talk to me. The only way they'll find out is if you tell them. She's like, okay. I mean, if you want to really do this, okay. So we kissing or whatever like that. They was like, damn, David kissing that girl with that fat eye. Damn, who is this girl? So we kissing or whatever. I'm grabbing her thighs or whatever like that. And she's like, David, you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah. She's like, all right, okay. So the movie, like the previews start coming on. I, pull my thing out, my dick out real slow. And then I start putting it in there. And she's just like, oh. I'm like, your pussy's so wet. She's like, oh. I'm like, you like that dick in here? She's like, yeah. Oh my God. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh. So I started beating it up, whatever, like that. And it was really good. We had sex in the movie theater. It wasn't planned or anything, but it just happened. And the previews was still kind of long. It was like the longest previews you ever, like, I'm like, damn, there's some long ass previews. Like, the preview was pretty long before the movie came on. So, yeah, we cutting up or whatever. And she's like, oh my God, David. I'm like, I want to fuck you again. That pussy was good. She's like, David, oh my God, I can't feel. Damn my God, David, just turn my shit out. I can't. I'm like, oh shit. Oh my, come here, you girl. Damn, you about to make me come. It's like, So she started, grinding real fast, whatever. And yeah, it was good. I ain't gonna lie, we was going at it though. Like, yeah, we was definitely going at it. So yeah, by the time the movie had went off or whatever, we didn't really see the movie because the whole time we were kissing and all over each other. I was turning her ass up. I mean, I was fucking her brains out. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I remember she didn't eat none of her candy. She didn't hardly touch her drink. Like, everything was untouched. So like, I could take all this stuff with me. Come on. Except for this drink. This drink probably watered down with all the ice and stuff. I can leave this. So I'm like, okay. She's like, I can take everything else with me. I'm like, what about the popcorn? She's like, I can leave the popcorn. It's probably stale now. So she took everything else. We got in the truck. And she's like, oh my goodness. I'm like, look, do you got social media? Like, like Instagram and Twitter and stuff. She's like, I do got Instagram, but not like, I don't have Twitter or anything like that. I'm like, what about Facebook and stuff? She's like, I got Facebook, but I really don't be on there like that. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? No, it's more so my sister Tanera. She be on there more than that. She posts more than I do. Like, I don't really like be on there like that. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? No, not really. But yeah, I do got an Instagram. I got an Instagram account. I'm like, okay, so do you like being on Instagram? It's like, what you mean, like posting stuff on Instagram? I'm like, yeah, it's like, I like looking at what other people post, like other celebrities and stuff, what they post and stuff like that. But yeah, I post things whenever I get around to. I post some stuff if I get around to it. I'm like, okay, she's like, cause I'm like, David, I'm not like a big celebrity, so ain't nobody checking for me. Nobody's worried about, if I post something, if I don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like, so nobody's really worried about that, like nobody's like, hey, what's going on with Sinitra? Why is she not posting? You know what I'm saying? I'm no Beyonce. By the way, that was some good dick. I'm like, it's like, you wasn't using no condom. You trying to get your cousin pregnant? I'm like, what you mean? It's like, you know what I mean. In the movie theater, you didn't use a condom. And you were really in there. I'm like, yeah. It's like, and you didn't pull out. So I'm like, I wasn't trying to pull out Sinitra. I wanted to keep it in there. It's like, that's the thing. I'm saying, like, what if I get pregnant? Like, I'm not afraid, but I'm just saying, like, you're married to Beyonce. I'm like, well, you living with us now. She's like, but what if I get pregnant? I'm like, just tell her that it's your boyfriend. So you was already pregnant. She's like, that could work. I'm like, yeah. She's like, all right, okay. I'm like, so you okay? It's like, you fucked me while I was on my period. I'm like, wait, you on your period? It's like, yeah. Yeah, the tampon that I have, it kind of dissolves in your pussy. So I'm like, oh, she's like, yeah, I'm on my period, literally. And you might want to look at your dick. So I looked at my dick, she's like, you see it? All that blood on your dick? I'm like, oh, shit. It's like, yeah. I mean, I ain't want to say anything. I ain't want to ruin the moment. I'm like, I want to fuck you again. It's like, okay. So we go in the back of my truck, and it's like, so wait, are we just fucking and having fun, or am I your girlfriend? I mean, because I could be your girlfriend, and Beyonce don't have to know about it. So I'm like, okay. She's like, we got the best alibi ever. I'm your cousin. So I'm like, yeah, it's like she's not going to suspect you fucking your cousin. So I'm like, true. She's like, David, stop. And before you stick your big ass dick in me, baby, I just want to say, like, when you pound on it, my eye hurts. I'm like, it dude's like, yeah, when you like, because it like shoots up to my face. I'm like, okay. It's like, I mean, you can pound on it just like not so hard. I'm like, okay. It's like, because I mean, I still, my eye, like, you probably gonna give me a headache because you about to fuck me from the front. So I'm like, okay. It's like, yeah, so, you know what? I'm not gonna tell you how to fuck me. You fuck me how you want to. So I'm like, you sure? It's like, yeah. So we kissing, and I ended up beating it up. I was like, oh my God, David. Ow. David, ow. Ow. Oh my God. I can't, David. I can't. I'm like, oh shit. It's like, oh my God. So I started beating it up real fast or whatever like that. It was so good. I ain't gonna lie to you. And yeah, I came in there, and I remember after we was done having sex, she was like, David, you want me to go on my Instagram Live? I'm like, yeah, Instagram Live. It's like, yeah. I mean, show my cousin. Nobody knows that we're actually dating. Nobody knows I'm your girlfriend. I mean, I am your girlfriend. I'm like, yeah. It's like, you know what? No. Because I just thought about it. If I put you in my Instagram Live, that means Tanera will see it, the whole family will see it, and then they'll be asking you for shit. So I don't want to put you through that. So never mind. I'm like, okay. So like, yeah, I'm definitely going to say hell no on that one. So I'm like, okay. So I wasn't really thinking. I was just hyped up off of what we just did. So I wasn't really thinking. So I'm like, okay, you thinking now? It's like, I'm definitely thinking now. So she's like, but it really doesn't matter because they was just taking a whole bunch of pictures of me and you. So the family gonna see that regardless online. So I'm like, yeah, they are. They definitely are. So I'm like, I love you, girl. It's like, you have to say that I'm your cousin. I'm like, not just because you're my girl too. It's like, David, I'm just afraid. I'm like, what are you afraid about? It's like, that if I like really fall for you, David, like what if I really fall in love with you and then I mean, I know you're not gonna leave Beyonce, it's Beyonce, but what about me? I'm like, you'll be my girlfriend forever, and you'll stay with me wherever I go, and wherever me and Beyonce go, you'll go. It's like, okay. I'm like, it's like, so you want to get me pregnant? I'm like, yeah. It's like, okay. I'm like, she's like, I just got on my period too. I'm like, you did? It's like, mm-hmm. So it's a good thing that you fucking me while I'm on my period, because I mean, I be on my period for like a whole week, like almost a week or two. Well, about a week. I'm like, okay. It's like, yeah. So I'm like, does it hurt when you on your period? It's like, it depends. Sometimes it's like, sometimes I have those periods where I'm cramping like a whole lot in my ribs and stuff. It be cramping. It be feeling like I be literally feeling like I'm dying. Like that's how bad it be hurting. So yeah, I mean it hurts right now, but I'm not really thinking about the pain because your dick is more painful than the cramps. I'm like, it is like, yeah. Your dick is, look at your dick. All that blood on your dick. I'm a heavy bleeder too. I'm like, you always like, yeah, damn, all that blood on your dick. That's period blood. I'm like, she's like, and you keep busting at me too. I'm like, you not complaining? It's like, well, you said you want to get me pregnant, so I'm not going to stop you. I'm like, it's like, no. I'm like, okay. It's like, I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know that I hope you know what you're doing because it seems like you do. So I'm just letting you know, like, look, you coming inside me, like you're not pulling out. Like I'm letting you know you're not wearing a condom. So I just want you to be aware of that as we're having sex. Like you do know you're not pulling out. So I'm like, yeah, I know, baby. That's why I keep that dick up in there. I gotta keep it in your guts, cause how am I gonna knock you up if I don't bust all in them guts? She's like, okay, I'm just letting you know. I mean, cause I can get pregnant while I'm on my period, David. I'm like, you can? It's like, yes, David. Just because I'm on my period don't mean you can't fucking knock me up. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure, cause it seems like you love sex and you love fucking me, and I love getting dick by you. So even though we kind of just reunited from seeing each other, I'm like, yeah, it's like, so I'm pretty sure you're gonna be fucking me a lot since I'm living with you. So I'm like, yeah, it's like, but Beyonce cannot suspect that we are even like remotely having sex. So I'm like, okay, it's like, so I'm like, but I want you to wear nice panties for me. It's like, I don't got on nice panties now. I'm like, you got on some nice panties, but I want you to look more sexy for daddy. He's like what? I'm like, I want you to wear some sexy panties, nice little t-shirt with no bra. It's like, okay. I'm like, but I want to take some pictures of you right now on my phone, some new pictures. Like, okay. So I took pictures of her, and she let me take pictures of her and make videos of me playing with her pussy and all types of stuff. I was doing a lot of stuff with her, and she let me do it. You know, she didn't complain. So she's like, David, I love you. I'm like, I love you too. It's like, I'm like, oh, we gotta get back home. She's like, oh, we do right now. I'm like, yeah. It's like, I thought we was gonna hang out more, honey. I'm like, gotta get back to Beyonce. It's like, well, good thing I'm living with you. So I'm like, yeah. It's like, okay. So I'm like, we can stay a little longer, baby. It's like, okay, good. I'm like, let me ask you a question. It's like, yeah, you can ask me anything. What's up? So I'm like, so if I do want to marry you, would you marry me even though I'm married to Beyonce? He's like, you would want to marry me? I'm like, would you? He's like, but what if the family finds out? I'm like, why do you keep talking about the family? I want you. He's like, I want you too, but they ain't gonna understand it. You know they not. Especially your mother. You know she's on that, whatever the fuck she's on, that Jehovah Witness shit. There's no way she's gonna accept us. I'm like, it's like two cousins in a relationship. I'm like, yeah, but she's not. I mean, you're not technically my cousin anymore because of my situation. She's like, David, you know your mother is not going to see it that way. No one is going to see it that way in the family. They're going to think it's incest. And in a weird way, it is incest. But we do know the situation. But, I mean, yes, it's incest, David. I mean, even if you're not really my cousin no more, it's still incest. But I'm not tripping off of it if you're not. I'm like, I'm not. It's like, okay, so to answer your question, yeah, I would let you marry me. I mean, but you would have to be serious about wifing me. I'm like, yeah, it's like, I just would have to take all this shit from the family. I mean, they definitely gonna be pissed off about it, but fuck it. I'm like, so you'll be okay with it? It's like, I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't owe them shit. It's not. It's not like they paying my bills. So yeah, I'm good. Like, yeah, I'll be cool with it. She's like, but I know my mom is definitely gonna be angry. She gonna be like, what? You and Corey? You know, my mom still call you Corey. She don't call you David. You know, but she gonna be mad about it. I know Tanira's gonna have something to say. I mean, all of them gonna have something to say about it, but it doesn't matter. Like, well, I ain't telling them no time soon though. I'm like, it's like no, but they gonna see them damn pictures. They see it's. I think they got some pictures of us kissing, David. I'm like, what, in the movie theater? It's like, I think so. I think some of your fans was like, even recording us or taking photos of us. I'm like, you think they was? Like, I hope not. I mean, I don't know. I'm like, but they couldn't really see us. Like, I felt like somebody was taking pictures of us, David, when we were kissing in the movie theater. I'm not like scared. Like, I just don't want I don't want your wife Beyonce to find out. I'm like, she's not gonna find out. Look, one thing you need to know about my fans, they might have took those photos, but they ain't gonna really do anything with them. She's like, why wouldn't they do anything with them? I mean, you're an A-list actor. Everybody wanna know what you're doing, all those teenager girls. So I'm like, yeah, they do want to know what I'm doing, but that's like outing me or getting me in trouble. My fans don't get me in trouble. They know if they post that stuff that Beyonce will see it, and then she'll be like, "What the hell?" So trust me. She's like, "So why did they take the photos?" I'm like, "They took the photos for their personal convenience." So she's like, "Oh, just for themselves?" I'm like, "Yeah, just so they can say they had it." And plus, they can post it on my website, and Beyonce don't really get on my website like that. So they can post it on my website, and everybody will see it on there, like all my fans. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's like, oh, so they'll post it on your website. Is your website like a community? I'm like, yeah, it's like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of those fucking apps. It's all those apps in one. So it's like if you post it on my website, everybody will see it. It's like a billion girls is on there. Like a lot of girls that be on there. A lot of my fans. So everybody will see it. But it won't get back to Beyonce. It's like they'll talk amongst themselves on the website, and that's pretty much how it would go. She's like, so it won't even get on YouTube and stuff. I'm like, right. It's like, okay. I mean, it seems like you know this whole situation like it happened before. So, I mean, as long as you know how your fans are, then I'm not going to trip if you ain't going to trip. So I'm like, no, I ain't going to trip. So, like, David, I'm not going to lie, my eye is like really throbbing. It hurts. Like, I don't know, like the pain in it. I'm like, what hurts on it? Like, how it hurts. So, like, well, it kind of hurts when I talk. Like, I don't know. Like, this side hurts. I'm like, okay. It's like, yeah. So it hurts when I talk, and um, when I lay down too. Like I'm afraid to go to sleep. I'm like, well, you shouldn't go to sleep. If your head got banged up, you shouldn't go to sleep if your head got banged up. She's like, okay. I'm like, yeah, you should definitely want to wait a little while. It's like, well, what about when it turns to nighttime? I'm like, I mean, if it turns nighttime, you can go to sleep. I guess you can go to sleep. But I mean, you're supposed to wait a few hours before you actually go to sleep because you can't just like get your head banged up and then go to sleep because you can slip into a coma. So she's like, oh, I can? I'm like, did he bang your head against stuff? She's like, I mean, yeah, he did. Then he punched me a lot in my face too. I mean, besides hitting my head across stuff. I'm like, yeah, definitely. You definitely don't want to go to sleep. But my nurses, when we get back to the mansion, they can like they'll check up on you, make sure your face good and stuff. She's like, yeah, it hurts. I'm like, and she's like, yeah. So I'm like, and the glasses weren't doing no better. She's like, no, I was gonna wear some glasses before, like as we were leaving out, but it wasn't working. So I'm like, oh, okay. That's cool. Don't worry about it. You still look good though. It's like, no, I don't. Look at my face. Look, I look ugly right now. I'm like, no, you don't. She's like, you only saying that because you're related to me and I'm your cousin. That's the only reason why. Oh, and we having sex, and well, I'm your girl. I'm like, yeah, that's part of it. It's like, no, you shouldn't have agreed to that. I'm like, yeah, well, So I'm like, you hungry again? It's like, oh, I could go for something to eat, before we go back to the house. I'm like, yeah, so we get something to eat or whatever and come back in. And Beyonce like still asleep or whatever. So my soldiers, they called me up right on time. They're like, David, boss. I'm like, yeah, what's up? What's going on? They're like, we got him. I'm like, y'all got him that damn fast? I thought it was going to take a couple of days. So I was like, nah, you know how we work. We work fast. So I'm like, all right, y'all got him at the warehouse. They was like, yeah, we got him at the warehouse, boss, just like you wanted. We beat him. We beat him, but we ain't do it like we ain't beat him real bad like we do other people. So I'm like, all right, okay. So I go in there with Beyonce. I'm like, Beyonce, get up. She's like, yeah, David, okay. So I'm like, Beyonce, you ready? She's like, yeah, David, ready for what? What are you talking about? I'm like, my soldiers, they got, Jay-Z. She's like, that fast? I thought it was going to take them at least 2 days. I'm like, no, they got him right now. He at the warehouse. She was like, oh, I'm ready. So I'm like, all right, come on. So we get in the truck or whatever, and I lock up and stuff like that. Sinitra is asleep in the room. She's pretty much knocked out. She's like, David, did you leave out? I'm like, yeah, I took Shanisha to get something to eat and took her to the movies. She's like, you took her to the movies? I'm like, yeah. It's like, what the hell you take her to the damn movies for? I'm like, because she looked like she wanted a good time. It's like, did you see her damn face? Why in the hell would you want to take her out in public looking like that? Her face looked like a damn truck hit it. So I'm like, okay. She's like, God damn. I mean, that nigga was definitely beating that girl. I'm like, okay. And I whipped his ass, so he ain't gonna be able to beat her no damn more. So she's like, okay, yeah, all right. That better be your real cousin too. I'm like, that is my real cousin. So she's like, okay, all right. And where are we going at to meet him at? I'm like, at my warehouse. So she's like, okay, so what are we supposed to do? How are we gonna get the money out of him? I'm like, Beyonce, will you let me just work my damn magic? So she's like, okay, fine. So we get there, right? We get to the warehouse. My soldier's coming out. They're like, David, boss, he in there. Oh, it's the Queen Bee. Oh, hey, we ain't never see y'all two together. Y'all look so good together, you and David. Wow, you married to our boss. Congratulations, Mrs. Simms. She's like, oh, thank you so much. I mean, a lot of people don't catch on to call me Mrs. Simms, but y'all did. That is so, I like them already. So I'm like, good, you like them. She's like, yeah, you got girl soldiers? I'm like, yeah. She's like, they already know what to call me. So I remember we go in there and he all beat all up and he tied up and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, so y'all tied him up to a chair that was a little bit classy. Usually y'all tied him up to a damn ceiling and let him dang down. Now look here, Jay-Z. Look, I ain't want to do this to you. This was your wife idea. She's now my damn wife. So this is what you gotta understand, man. Listen, she's not feeling you no more. And whatever you do, it's just gonna make her hate you even more. So now you stealing the girl money, now you just doing all this petty stuff. So what I'm saying is like, why can't you be a damn man and just took your damn money and left her damn half of the damn money? He was like, but it's our money. I'm like, once y'all not together no more, it's not y'all money no more. It's your money and now it's her damn money. So I don't want your damn money. You can keep your half of the damn money. But her money, I'm going to need you to give that back. So he like, look, man, I'm like, look, I don't really want to do this to you, Jay. So all I need is just a simple little answer. Where is the money located at so we can get the money? Now, she's your damn wife, so she could get the money, right? So he was like, nope, I'm the only one that can access it. It's a private account. So she's like, you what? You stole my money and put it in another bank in a private account? Jay, you better give me my damn money. So he was like, fine. Okay, I'll give you the information. But it's not gonna prove anything. So I'm like, yes it is, because everybody gonna think that she's still married to you. Just give her the information and we'll pick her half of the money up. Only her half of the money. So he like gave her the information or whatever like that. I'm like, look, we ain't gonna kill you. I ain't want to do this to you, man. I really didn't want to take it this damn far, but you stealing money and stuff, man. She wanted her money back. So she was like, this better be the right information too, or we gonna find you. And when we do, this ain't gonna happen the way it's happening right now. It's gonna be a lot worse than this. So he like, what, y'all gonna kill me? So she was like, I don't know, but I will, because I worked my ass off for this damn money, and you gonna steal it and then gonna tell me good riddance? So he was like, I ain't never tell you good riddance. So she was like, that's what you kind of said to me on the phone, that I would never get my money back. That's saying good riddance to me. And this better be the right information too. We going straight there right now, and it better be the right information. Matter of fact, keep him here. If he lying, beat him some more. So she was like, come on, David, let's go. So we go to the bank where he got the money stashed or whatever. And she give him the information. And she get the money. She get her half of the money. She was thinking about taking all of it. But I was like, no, don't take his half of the money. Just take your money. She's like, fine. So she just took her money or whatever, and she's like, no, I'm taking his too. I'm like, why? It's like, no, because he stole my money. I'm like, so you trying to be petty and take his too? She's like, he ain't gonna miss it. He ain't gonna miss it. So I'm like, she's like, most of this money is mine. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, if you want to take his half, go ahead and take it. She's like, yes, I'm taking it. So I'm like, all right, go ahead, take it. So she took all of the damn money. I'm like, yo, y'all are just so damn petty. Everybody's so damn petty. So I'm like, instead of just taking your half of the damn cut, you want to take every damn thing. Everybody want to be greedy. So I'm like, you know, Beyonce, you really didn't have to take all of the damn money. She's like, why shouldn't I? He took all of my damn money. So I'm like, all right, she's like, David, he ain't gonna miss it. He can make that back in the day. So I'm like, it ain't about that, man. It's the fact that you took the money. You shouldn't even have took it. She's like, David, he took it in the first damn place. So no, he started this whole thing. And now I'm finishing it. I went to go use my damn credit card and it said decline. So he started it and now I'm finishing it. So I'm like, all right, fine. Okay. All right. So she's like, you can call your soldiers up and tell them to let his dumbass go. So I'm like, all right. So I call my soldiers up. I'm like, y'all can let Jay-Z go. Y'all ain't beat him, did y'all? So they're like, no, we left him the way he was. I'm like, all right, y'all can let him go. So it's like, wait. We can't just let him leave this damn warehouse. He can come back in and have other people with him. So I'm like, all right, well, how did y'all bring him here? So they're like, we had a duffel bag over his head, like one of them things you tie over your head. I'm like, oh, okay, well, do that again. Tie his ass up, tie it over his head, put something over his head, and take him somewhere, like dump him in the alley or something. So it was like, yeah, we can do that, boss. I'm like, all right, yeah. So she was like, good, you got me my money back. I'm like, all of that ain't your money. She was like, David, you don't gotta be so daggone picky about everything. I'm like, what? She's like, you did a good thing for me, and I'll do a good thing for you. I'm like, and what's that? She's like, now, since you got me my money back, and we doing the interview tomorrow, I'm like, yes, we are. She's like, so I was thinking we can turn up. I'm like, well, yeah, how we gonna turn up? It's like, well, where you want to go at? So I'm like, all right, well, we can go. I was like, let's go to the park. Let's hang out at the park. So we going to the park. We hanging out at the park or whatever like that. It's like, David, baby, Jay-Z he probably gonna tell on us. I'm like, probably he can't get me locked up. I own a police station. She's like, oh, you own a police station? I'm like, I own a police station in every state. So she's like, okay. I'm like, look, everything I do is justified. So he can't get me locked up, even if he wanted to. So she's like, what about me? Could you get me locked up? So I'm like, he probably could get you locked up, but he can't get me locked up. But since you connected to me and you my wife, he can't really touch you either. So she's like, good. Cause you know he gonna run his mouth once he finally get out of there. So I'm like, yeah, but we couldn't kill him, okay? Beyonce, we couldn't kill your husband. She's like, he ain't my husband no more. I'm like, ex-husband, whatever he is to you, we couldn't murder his ass, okay? I mean, how would the world take it if Jay-Z was dead? So she was like, okay, fine, you got a point there. So we at the park, we kissing, grabbing her ass, and we sitting on the bench, and she get on top of me. They was like, that's David and Beyonce. That is crazy. What the heck is going on in the world? I mean, everything backwards. I mean, David is dating Beyonce. Like, what? Yo, we gotta be in an alternate. Like, do you understand how crazy this is? Beyonce is not with Jay-Z anymore. She's with David. David's with her. Like, this is crazy. Y'all don't think this is crazy? So they like, it's crazy, but I mean, it's also not that unbelievable. So they like, what do you mean it's not that unbelievable? They was like, well, I mean, like, David is an A-list actor and pop star and stuff. So, I mean, like, he is famous just like her. So, I mean, I don't really see what's the big deal. So they was like, I mean, and she was like, and plus David is very attractive and Jay-Z is ugly as hell. So they was like, okay, Jay-Z is ugly, but I mean, okay, I get what you're saying, but still, that's Jay-Z and Beyonce. Everybody know them as Hov and Biddy. So she's like, well, we gonna have to make up another name now. It's okay, she not with Jay-Z no more. Now we're gonna have to make up another name now. So she was like, what the hell is gonna go with David and Beyonce? So she was like, David and Beyonce. So she was like, okay, so what's their ship name gonna be? So she was like, you mean like oh, you talking about their ship name? They wrote, okay, their couple name. Um, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know what goes along with how could you connect David and Beyonce. I don't know. I mean, I don't know because his name start with a D and her name start with a B. So it could be Debbie or something like that. Debbie or something like that. I don't know. I can't really tell you what their ship name would be. So she's like, that's crazy. That you see, every time I see them two together, I always can't believe it. So she's like, why can't you believe it? She's like, I hear what you're saying. And I get what you're saying, and you is right about all those elements. But the thing is that I'm so used to her being with Jay-Z. It's just that it's just kind of messing with me when I see them two together. Like David and Beyonce. It kind of just seems like I'm in a dream. Like I'm in a dream and I'm dreaming it, but I'm like, I'm not waking up from the dream. So she's like, you ain't in no dream. He is really with that goddamn girl. So she's like, and another thing, she's pregnant. Like he got her old so pregnant. Can she still have babies? So she's like, I mean, if she pregnant, then obviously she can have babies. Girls can still get on their periods at an old age, and she's not that old. So she's like, well, how old is Beyonce? Since you think she's not that old, since you think she's not that old, how old do you think Beyonce is? So she's like, I don't know. She could probably be, she probably like in her late 40s. I'm probably like 46 or something like that. Almost 50. She's like, so you don't think that's old? She's like, no, that's not old. Old is like, you're not even old when you're 60 years old. So she's like, yes, you is. If you 60 years old, you are definitely old. So she's like, well, she ain't 60. She's like 40 something. So she's like, and you don't consider that old? She's like, no, I don't. I don't consider that old. She's 40, like 46. So she's like, that's old to me. So she's like, I don't even know why David would want to date that because he's way younger than her. So she's like, I mean, young people like older people. So she's like, mm. So I'm like, I'm all over Beyonce. We making love in the park and stuff. And everybody don't really care because they know I make love any daggone way. I don't care where I'm at. I make love anywhere. You know what I'm saying? If it's my girl, if I'm with my girl, I'm cutting up with my girl. I'm showing affection to my girl. I love my girl. I want her to feel my love. You know what I'm saying? So she was kissing over. She's like, David, oh shit. Damn, what in the hell? Oh my God, damn. So I was beating it up or whatever, but I kind of forgot one thing, y'all. I forgot to take a shower so I could wash that blood off my, dick because I had sex with Sinitra. But she didn't really, like, Beyonce never really looked at my thing. She never really looked at it. So I was like, all right, she didn't look at it, so I just had sex with her with it. But I was like, oh boy. But she didn't look at it. She never looked, she just let me do my thing. So that was a good thing. But I was like, yo. Oh no, I did take a shower. I did take a shower before we left. I did. I took a quick one. I thought I didn't at first, but yeah, I did. So after we was done in the park, she wanted to go home. She wanted to get something to eat and go back home because she was tired and stuff. So yeah, we go in the car, and then her daughter had called her up. And she was like, hey, Blue. She's like, you got daddy beat up? She's like, I ain't get daddy beat up. So she's like, yes, you did. Daddy just called me and told me everything. So she was like, Blue, what you talking about? Ain't nobody beat up your father. So she was like, why did you get daddy beat up? She's like, your father stole money from me. Your father is a thief. So she was like, what are you talking about? So she was like, your father stole my money and took it to another bank and then told me I couldn't get it back. So she was like, so that means you beat up daddy? So she's like, ain't nobody beat up your father. What are you talking about, girl? So she's like, I'm looking at his face right now, Mom. I'm looking at it and it's beat up. And he said it's because of you. So she's like, I don't know what your father telling you, but I ain't do nothing to your father. So she was like, Mom, how could you do that to daddy? So she's like, I told you I didn't do anything to your father, and your father stole from me. Your father's a damn thief. Did your father tell you what he stole from me? Did he tell you? No, he just wanted to tell you other stuff. Like lies. So he's like, I ain't lying. You know you did this. You know it. You and David. So she's like, David ain't do nothing to you. Blue, David, you know David wouldn't do nothing like that. You know David wouldn't do that. David ain't like that. You know that. So she's like, I don't know what to believe no more. I don't know if David would do something like that. She's like, David wouldn't do anything like that. Don't listen to your father. So she was like, so you trying to tell me that he would just make something up like that? He just gonna make up a lie like that? She's like, obviously, he's jealous. He's mad that we together. He's trying every trick in the book. He stole money from me. So she was like, okay, so you go get him beat up. She's like, I'm telling you, I didn't get your father beat up. So stop saying that. I ain't do anything to your father. So he was like, yes, you did. And I'm going to the police too. So she's like, going to the police? What you gonna go to the police for? I ain't do nothing to you. I ain't get you beat up. So he was like, yes, you did. She was like, you don't got no evidence. How you gonna tell the police that I got you beat up? I ain't do you be lying on me. And you stole money from me. You stole my money and you moved it to another bank account and I got evidence that you did it. So he was like, nobody's gonna care about that. They're gonna care about what you did to my face. And I'm going to the police in the morning and you getting locked up. So she was like, yeah, whatever. Good luck with that. And ain't nobody do nothing to your father. He's lying and over exaggerating. So Blue was like, Mom, just tell the truth. Did you get daddy beat up? So she's like, I told you, girl, I'm telling you the truth. I'm not lying to you. She's like, you lied about dating my boyfriend, and here you are married to him. She's like, I ain't never lied to you about dating your boyfriend. I didn't never lie to you about that. I told you the truth when that time was right. You never asked me, was me and David doing anything? You never knew until I told you. So how did I lie to you about that? So she was like, okay, fine, whatever. She's like, look, Blue, I know you angry at me. I get it. But you want to find every excuse in the book to hate me more. I get it. I get that you don't like your own mother. She's like, well, why do you think I don't like you, Ma? You went behind my back and stole my man. So she's like, look, I told you that it was intentional. So she's like, you know what? You got every excuse in the book to why you did what you did. And you're not even remorseful. She's like, you're not even remorseful. And you're not sorry. She's like, who said I wasn't sorry? Who said I didn't feel any pain? I feel pain. So she's like, you don't feel anything. You are so selfish. You and daddy. So she's like, I am not selfish. First of all, girl, don't you ever talk to your mother like that. Because if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have the life you have. Okay? Me and your father gave you that life you got for you and your brothers and sisters. So don't you ever say that I'm selfish. Because if I was selfish, you wouldn't have the good life that you have. So don't you ever say that on this phone, girl. So she's like, you know what? I don't need your money. She's like, you don't need my money? Okay. Well, how about this? Why don't you leave my damn house? How about that? She's like, no, it's daddy's house. She was like, it ain't no damn daddy's house. I paid for that house. So she's like, you know what? I'm staying here because daddy paid for this house. So she's like, I don't care what your father told you. I paid for that house. I'm paying for that house. So she's like, you know what? Whatever, Mom. She's like, yeah, you say you don't need my money? You say you don't need my money? Well, how about this? How about I take your trust fund? You know what? For college, since you ain't going to college anyway because you're pregnant. So you know what? I can just take that money for myself too. She's like, no, they can go towards my brother and sister. They can go to college. She's like, no, they got their own trust funds. I won't touch their money, but I'm definitely dipping into yours. So she's like, what you mean you dipping into my, it's my money. So you can't touch that money. You still a minor. You can't touch that money. It's my money. So she's like, okay, whatever, Mom, whatever. I hate you. So like, I hate you too. You know why? Because you're sitting up there believing your father. You think your mother would do something like that? You think I would get your father? You think I would beat up your father? You think I would get your father beat up? So she was like, no. Yes, I do. So she's like, okay, I told you that your father stole money from me. You don't have to believe me. So she's like, he said he didn't steal no money from you. She's like, he didn't steal no money. Okay, okay. All right, you know what? I'm going to get off the phone. So she get off the phone. She's like, see what he doing? He getting my own daughter to turn against me. You see what he doing? It ain't a lie. I did get him beat up, but that ain't the point. I ain't going to tell her the truth. And anyway, he stole money from me. So I'm like, Beyonce, you the thief now. You stole all of the money. She's like, and I deserved it. I deserve that. I worked my ass off for this money. Going on tours, doing movies, all of that. I worked my ass off for this money. And then he gonna go behind my back and steal my money that I worked hard for, and then gonna put it into another bank account, and then gonna tell me that I'm never gonna see that money again. So I'm like, okay, all right, I can see where you can get angry about that. She's like, how would you feel if somebody said that to you? You would want to kill him. So I'm like, yeah, I would. I'm not even gonna lie to you. She's like, okay then. Okay then. People be acting like it's just money and stuff, but no. If somebody steal your money that you worked hard for, you gonna literally lose it. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. I would. You're not wrong in that. I would. I would. I would become a different person. You're right. So she like, and then he up there turning my damn daughter against me. So I'm like, okay, how you gonna make it right? It's like, make it right with who? My daughter. It's not. How am I gonna make that right, David? She hate me. So I'm like, okay. I mean, you could kind of make it right. It's like, David, she doesn't want to see me. She doesn't want to talk to me, and I understand it. And I'm staying out of her way. I'm giving her space. She don't want to have nothing to do with her mother. That's totally fine. And Jay-Z ain't making it no damn better. What the hell he doing? So I'm like, okay. She's like, David, I'm probably gonna go to jail tomorrow. I'm like, Beyonce, you're not gonna go to jail. So like, oh, I mean, you ain't gonna go to jail. That's definitely not gonna happen to you. But I'm probably gonna go to jail tomorrow. So I'm like, you're not gonna go to jail, okay? You my wife. Ain't nothing gonna happen to you. Trust me. So she's like, you sure? I'm like, I'm positive, baby. I made phone calls before I even did all that stuff. So she's like, so I'm good? I'm like, you good. He gonna go to the police, but ain't nothing gonna happen to you. So she's like, so I'm in the clear. I'm like, yeah. She's like, whew, I love you, baby. I'm like, I love you too. But next time you drag me in the middle of this shit, make sure you think this through. It's like, baby, I would never drag you into something like that again, because next time I'm gonna be thinking. So she's like, now I don't need to mix my money in with yours because you already rich. So I'm like, yeah. She's like, so I can just put my stuff into another bank account. I'm like, why don't you put your stuff into my bank account, have your own bank account? It's like, wait, what? I'm like, I have my own bank. She's like, wait, you own your own damn bank? I'm like, yeah, that's where my money at. And you can have your own account with my bank. It's like, what the hell is it called? The David Simms Bank? I'm like, well, yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah, it is. So like, God damn. I'm like, it's like you got every damn thing. Supermarkets, banks. God damn, you got your own, you got your own beach? I'm like, I got everything. It's like everything. Airports. You got your own private plane station. I mean, like, God damn. I'm like, I got everything. She was like, boy, you are something else. So she's like, all right, I'll set my own bank account up with your bank. Okay, I'll do it. Can I do it tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, you can do it tomorrow. It's like, this was a crazy ass day, don't you think, David? So I'm like, yeah, baby, it was pretty wild. So she's like, and Jay-Z up there lying on me, talking about, I'm like, he's not lying on you. You did get him beat up. She's like, okay, but I had every reason to, though. He stole my money. So I'm like, yo, Beyonce, yo, you are really petty. She's like, I don't care how petty I am. It's my damn money. He stole $1 billion damn from me. $1 billion. I can say if it was a damn $1 million, then I wouldn't be that damn mad about it. He stole $250 million from me. And you want to sit there and tell me just walk away from it? So I'm like, yo. I'm like, you know what? You actually is right. I'm laughing because it's funny the way you saying it. She's like, I'm just saying, like, who the hell is going to walk away from $1 billion? So I'm like, all right, I kind of get what you said. It's like, I'm just saying, he going to steal all that money and they're going to tell me I'm never going to see it again. So, all right, I'm going to get you beat up and then you're going to give me my money. So, I got him beat up, but I didn't do it for no reason. I did it for a reason, though. So, I'm like, she's like, but I ain't never telling Blue that I got her father beat up. I ain't never going to admit to that. So, I'm like, she's like, why would I admit to that? So I'm like, okay, yeah, true. You got a point there. She was like, how long is your stupid cousin staying with us? I'm like, who's Sinitra? As long as she wants to. She's my cousin. So she was like, David, all right. I'm like, look, I get it, but she can stay here as long as she wants. It's like, okay, okay, fine, whatever. I'm like, you seem like you mad. It's like, look, David, I just don't want her walking around like half naked in the damn house and stuff. I'm like, okay, I kind of get what you're saying. It's like, so you just make sure you talk to her about that shit. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. It's like, yeah, okay. Oh, when we go out of town, David, she can stay back at the house. I'm like, she can't come. It's like, why the hell could she? Why do you want her to come? So I'm like, I mean, she want to see some of the good life, some good things, go out of town, have fun. It's like she can do that another damn time. So I'm like, yo, Beyonce, you are the funniest girl I ever been with. She's like, I'm just saying. So I'm like, all right. It's like, David, this is our time. Okay, we planning our wedding. I don't want that girl all in the way. So I'm like, all right, okay. It's like she'll be all in the way. And then I'm probably gonna have to like, I don't know, slap that girl or something. I'm like, why would you slap my cousin? So she's like, I don't know. She's just something about her rubbed me the wrong way. She was doing all that extra crying and stuff. I'm like, the girl had just got her ass whooped. Like, what do you want? She got her face looked like a damn basketball. So she like, so what? She still was doing all that extra crime. So I'm like, yo, this girl is hilarious, boy. She is just too damn funny. She just had, I'm like, yo, you are too damn funny. She's like, I'm serious. I get that she got beat up, but she ain't had to be crying and doing that, all that extra stuff. I'm like, okay. It's like, that's why I kept looking at her. She was getting on my damn nerves with all that damn crying. So I'm like, all right, Beyonce. She's like, she can live with us, but she ain't going out of town with us. She stay right there. I'm like, yo, you are real funny. It's like, I'm funny, but I'm fair. I'm fair. I'm fair. I said she can stay with us. I said I'm agreeing with you, but she is not coming out of town with us and going everywhere with us, like a third wheel. So I'm like, okay. It's like, and it's bad enough that you took her shopping. I ain't want you to do that. I'm like, what was she going to wear after she get out the shower? Like, do you even hear yourself, Beyonce? So she's like, David, I do hear my damn self. She had enough time to get a whole bunch of stuff from her damn house. I'm like, look, maybe she didn't have any damn things. So she did, David. She did. She planned this out. I'm like, so you trying to tell me she planned to get her ass whooped? She's like, maybe not that, but she planned. I'm like, yo, Beyonce, yo, this girl is too funny. I couldn't even hold my laughing with Beyonce. So yeah, we had sex, and I'm gonna stop it at me making love in my truck. Me and Beyonce just cutting up and making love or whatever. But this episode 3, I wanted to get episode 3, like keep it going, because I would have said episode 4, it would kind of be defeating the purpose or whatever like that. So I kind of wanted to keep the episode pretty much going of episode 3. But y'all pretty much get the picture. So yeah, this is gonna be on YouTube, and we're gonna be thugging on him, getting that money, that real money. Say no. But I'm just howling at y'all, seeing what's going on. But I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, because episode 4